Welcome back to Football Dynasty Maniacs. I think I said that right, or Football Maniacs, whatever.
Dynasty Football Maniacs.
Yeah, welcome back to Football Dynasty Maniacs. Man, this is going to be one of them days, late night. Woo, what an Easter. I bet you've been having fun with yours.
Oh yeah.
Today, we're going to just make a quick fill in before the draft. The draft's coming up Thursday. I know we're all excited. See where these players land, what's going to happen. I know the NFL's had a lot of major changes. I think it's 7 different teams got new coaches. So you had Ben Johnson going to Chicago Bears, Brian Schottenheimer going to Dallas, which I'm still scratching my head on that one, and Jackson Jaguars, Liam Cohen, I'm scratching my head on that one too, to the Buccaneers. Oh, no, not the Buccaneers. He's going to Jaguars. He was the Buccaneers offensive coordinator. And then Pete Carroll going to the Raiders, Mike Vrabel going to the Patriots, Kellen Moore, Saints, and the Jets hired Darren Mogi. So, what do you think about all them changes? How do you feel like is that going to impact some of these teams, or you think we're going to see the same old same? I mean, it's going to be a change because they're new coaching, but like in what direction? Especially the Bears and the Jets. I think that's more my head scratcher than anything.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some change. Some teams ain't gonna be much of a big change because it's already been there. But like Chicago and stuff, I can see a big change in there because we saw what Ben Johnson did. Now it also is going to depend on how the draft goes to really see what their idea is for the offense. So we'll know a lot more after the draft next week.
Yeah, I think that's going to tell a big story about everything. Is Pete Carroll going to build the Raiders like he built Seattle? I mean, all of them are interesting things. To me, Pete Carroll ain't going to change. Pete Carroll's Pete Carroll. So I don't expect much. The one thing I did want to cover is we did have a startup draft, and I think a lot of people were surprised that on some like on the app we used Sleeper at the time, the ADP wasn't up to date currently. You guys got to think this is off season, so some of them apps don't update their ADP till after the draft. So some of the ADP numbers might fluctuate, not too much. Most of them are common. They don't change much, but then there's a few players that moved up in the ADP, but on that draft, it didn't show it. I think it shocked a lot of players. So that's a pre kind of warning when you're doing a startup drafts this early in the season. You need to do your homework before you get there and don't auto draft. That's all I can suggest. I mean, auto draft ain't bad. I mean, it's not my forte. Some people win on it, other people struggle on it. I still think Sleeper is one of the better apps out there for fantasy football, and I've played on a lot, like Flea Flicker and all them. They come close, but I just something about what Sleeper's doing. I think everybody should follow that model. I mean, it gives the commissioner the right amount of power to do what he needs to do to organize his league the way he wants to do it, because that's what we got to do. We set it up the way we want it. And then as a group, we kind of coalesce, kind of like go back and forth and vote in new rules. And you and me talk about this like 100 times. So, I mean, it's very common that when you start up a league, commissioner sets the basic rules, and then you go in there and you develop the league to satisfy everybody. I mean, not really satisfy everybody, but to just
I mean,
everybody
it's
has,
basically what you're doing.
yeah, but sometimes someone brings a better idea to the table that you didn't see. That is a true point too. And then sometimes their ideals don't win the group over, and it's just how it is. So, but I wanted to kind of bring that out. I still rank Sleeper as one of the number one apps to do your fantasy on. My next favorite is Yahoo. And then behind Yahoo, I do like Flea Flicker, but I've not been in a league in a while in Flea Flicker. I heard it's improved a little bit. I wouldn't mind starting another league in it just to kind of test out the waters and see what improvements they've done. After that, I would have to go. Well, ESPN's just plain, and NFL is just plain. They're not that exuberant, and they're just like CBS and everybody else. So it's like I like that comfort zone. And I know there's other apps out there people can go to. and do whatever they want. And another thing is Dynasty is growing, and it's growing huge. You got like me and Austin, and we're a dime a dozen. There's tons of us out there talking or whatever, doing whatever we want. Remember, this is our opinions. This is what we think. This is how we look at it. And it's through the times we played in fantasy football, how we looked at things and how we ranked things. And me and Austin do have a lot of different viewpoints. Sometimes we have the same viewpoint. But at the end of the day, it's for the viewer to find out what they enjoy and what helps them in their league. And some of the sites I think out there for like trades and stuff, I like Keep Cut and Trade. That's pretty decent. Razball's another one out there. Draft Sharks. I'm not giving nobody any advertisements. I think one of the better fantasy sites. At first, I didn't really like them, but I've become to love them. I'd say Fantasy Pros is probably during the season time. It's probably I say one of the best run analysis. And I've got a subscription to several different ones to test them out to see what I like about them. And the current one I'm working on is PFF. That's pretty interesting. There, there, there's some things I missed from the other site, but you got to go back and forth. And everyone brings their own thing to the table. Like the one unique thing I thought one site brought, it brought like rankings on how to. What it was basically the value points of trade, like your if I'm first round, second round, third round. So if you're trading during a draft, you can kind of understand that value. I thought was pretty interesting. Keep Cut and Trade does that, and they cover everything. Uh, except for they don't have defense, do they? They don't do defense. I can't get a
They don't do
defensive player.
defense.
No, the only one I found defense was on Razball, and I think that's probably the best one for the defense.
Fantasy Pros does defense too.
Yeah, Fantasy Pros does defense too.
So you at least got two options out there if you're doing an IDP league.
And we're just naming some of the top ones. I mean, there's been about 10 different sites I've played around with to see what they have out there. And it's been fun. Going into 2025 season has been exciting in its own right. So, do you have anything shared coming up in the 2025 season?
Well, as of right now, we're still. I know one of the big topics is I want, you can give your opinion on this because this involves your beloved team. But do you really think they're gonna actually get rid of the tush push?
No, they've already said it probably won't vote through because most of the teams don't agree to eliminate it. So I've been keeping really up with the ownership voting and watching the rules. That's why in one of the sites I put down the new kicking rules that have been voted in, and they're pretty much the majority is like the tush push is fine. We're not going to change it. So at the end of the day, I'm not worried about them getting rid of it this year, at least. Now next year, you don't know.
Well,
I mean, each day they drink a different thing out of their cup.
well,
So
we'll get a. I know they pushed it back to May, so we'll definitely get a final decision on that. At least for this year, anyways. I'm sure if majority of people think so, that's going to get passed. So they'll probably, of course, come after it again next year. So it's just a every year revolving door kind of thing.
well, a lot of it's player safety, but at the end of the day, I don't think that one's as big of a deal as they think it is. It just hurts people's feelings that it works, and it's a play that's been played for many years. We think it's new. It's not. It come with original football, so it's good to see a little bit of tough man contest at the front of the line. We just call it the tush push now because it that's the thing they're calling it. But
I
if you
think,
looked at original football lineup back in the 1930s and the 20s, that's how them boys were playing it. They were pushing that line. That center guy was leading the ball up the
well,
front. It was
that play came from rugby.
yeah, I know, but that's how they
It
played
came from
football back then.
rugby. So,
Well, that's
well,
how they played it back
poss-
then.
possibly, but you got to realize this is a different era, and the competition, committee. They're going to be always looking into how to make the NFL, overall. What I don't know if you want to call it fair, but if most of the time, if they see somebody that's doing something that's too overpowering or whatever, and then you get a lot of people complaining. Eventually, that's the reason why you get a lot of different rules and stuff because you got a bunch of people complaining because they don't know how to stop a certain play or something. Which, you know, I mean, my thing is if you can't, you just figure a way to stop the play out. In my honest opinion, I don't really see why we have to cut out one play just because every other team can't do it.
Yeah,
And
but Philadelphia ain't the only team doing it anymore. I mean, there's
no,
other
and
teams.
that's what I'm getting at though. Um, because you got the Bills, they're wanting to get rid of the tush push. But the crazy thing is, they run it not as much, but they run it like 70%. They're like 70 to 80% successful when they run it
Yeah,
because they're just right behind Philly because they run it almost as much as Philly does. So I don't know. I think it's crazy, but either way, if they get rid of the tush if they get rid of the tush push, I just know Jalen Hurts' value is going to be looked at a lot different.
I don't think they're going to get rid of it for one, and I don't think it's going to affect them if they got rid of it. I mean, it's just a nice little play they have that they could throw there on the
I
1 yard
mean,
line.
most of his rushing touchdowns came from the tush push, so that's all I'm bringing up. But
Mm.
either way, I really don't think that it's going to get, taken away anyway. So Jalen Hurts is still going to be wonderful.
Yeah, so the one thing I like they did vote on and they did agree on, and it is going to be in effect, is the new kickback rule. So now instead of 30-yard line, they're going to put them at 35. That's going to keep them guys from putting it in that end zone so they don't return it. Now they don't want to get them to the 35, so they're going to kick it shorter, which means you're going to have more run backs, which means your punt return should increase per the statistics of what they put out there. We're talking about a 40% to a 60% upbeat of run backs from punt returns and kick return. Yeah, let's say that right. Punt returns and kick returns. So I'm excited to see that, especially if you're in a league that gives bonus points for a punt returner. We've suffered because they try to claim, quote unquote, and didn't get me in the camera. Uh, that was causing a lot of injuries. Yeah, I think the NFL is full of injuries without that. I mean, every day I wake up, someone's on the injured list. It's like we're giving them out like at Oprah show. Yeah, injury for you, an injury for him, injury for everybody. I don't think there's a fantasy team out there that doesn't have to deal with injuries. They're constant now in the NFL, and some of them are probably not like what they used to be. It's like they're more health risk based. Like they don't want to take the chances they used to take. I think a lot of it is, which makes sense. I mean, they're playing safer, and that's the best thing for everybody. We don't want no one out there getting hurt or like seriously damaging themselves over football. I mean, that's silly. But for the fantasy side of it, it struggles for team ownerships trying to figure out what to do. I mean, that's one reason why a lot of people have opened up their IR benches and made new rules in the IR benches where they could sit and let people go at certain times. So it's a little different. Do you have any like cut, trade, keep, anything like that you wanted to cover tonight?
Yeah. So I got a few.
All right, give me one before, because after you do that, I got a little surprise list for you.
Cool. So I thought about this, and we haven't done one in a while, and especially since we've been ranking and doing our rankings and stuff. So, just like we always do, I am going to throw you three players, and you're going to tell me who you're going to keep, who you're going to trade, and who you're going to cut.
All right.
Now, this one, I don't know if it's an easy decision for you. It might be, but I thought to the average player, it was pretty tough for them. So, but it's going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba,
All right,
Lad
Jason.
McConkey, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh God, you threw out some fire right there on all three.
Hey,
Oh man.
we got to get the kettle cooking right now.
Oh, well, you wanted to throw the fire in there. You definitely had it boiling. I can hear the thing whistling from the kitchen. Let's see. JSN, Lad McConkey, and Marvin
Marvin
Harris.
Harris.
All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would trade Lad McConkey. I would cut JSN and I would keep Marvin Harris. Now, there's a reason why. I think Marvin Harris is gonna have a breakout season this year since he didn't have it last year, and I just sense it's coming. And I might be wrong. I might get that one wrong, but I would put all money on that. So that's how I would run that one. But yeah, that's how I would do it.
Okay. Okay.
Threw some fire on that one, didn't I?
Well, hey, I gotta get it going.
Oh, you
Gotta
got a good one.
get
That
the
was a real good
blood
one. I
going.
was not seeing that one.
All right. So that being said, we are now going to look at the running back position,
All right.
and I'm going to throw out these three. And obviously, the ones I throw out there, I'm not including rookies right now. Now, whenever we get to a segment later on in the future after the draft, I might throw some that will have the rookies involved. But so I'm gonna give you James Cook, Josh Jacobs, and Kenneth Walker.
James Cook. And what the other one was Josh Jacobs
Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker.
and Kenneth Walker. Oh, that should be a quick one right there. No, it's not going to be a quick one. Oh, God. Gonna make me think about this one too. So I'm looking at this right now. If I had to keep cut trade one of these guys, what I would do is I would most likely I would keep Josh Jacobs. I think I'd get a better value for Kenneth Walker, and I would cut James Cook.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm okay with that.
I know you wasn't okay with my first choice.
Nah, well, to
What?
each their own.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more.
All right.
And this one is going to be a little different, but we are going defensive back.
All right.
And so I'm going to throw out these three.
All right.
Let's throw out Xavier McKinney, Buda
Xavier McKinney,
Baker, or Brian Branch.
Bubba Baker, and Brian Branch.
Mm-hmm.
I already know that one come to me really quick when you said the last name because I'm definitely keeping Brian Branch.
Oh, okay.
Now it comes to decide what am I going to trade. I don't think I'm going to get much for Xavier McKinney. I'd get more for Bubba Baker, especially in an IDP league. More people would bite for that than they would for the other because they'd be more familiar with the name. And I would end up cutting Xavier McKinney.
Hmm.
That's just because he's not really, I mean, he's a good player, but he hasn't like sat out there and said, this is who I am. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. So I like that. I mean, that's some good little interesting food for thought. I mean,
Get your brain going a little bit.
yeah, I know some people are like, did he say he's going to keep Marvin Harris over JSN and Lad McConkey?
Well,
So,
hey, you know what you know.
so that goes into my next segment to kind of wrap up this show. And I want you guys to always remember, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. So I'm going to start with two breakdowns here. And I put a little effort into this. Let's say just a little effort. So who I think are coming up as rookies for sneaky IDP. They're in the draft. They don't have a team yet. But I believe and one of them's not really sneaky. So a couple of them probably not sneaky. But I'm saying this is your top prospects. Maybe that's how I should say it. Not sneaky good. Maybe one of them sneaky good. Let's start with the one that I think is sneaky good, and then the rest of them are pretty common. That'd be Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback rookie coming out. I believe he will go in the first round. I believe he will be a star. And if you're in an IDP league, he'd be worth drafting as a cornerback. Defensive back, technically, is what he drafted as. My next guy's up. Everybody knows who the top four is. I mean, this is common sense. We've all talked about it. We got Travis Hunter. He's going to be a quarterback slash wide receiver. We don't know yet, but wherever he lands, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a stud. And as an IDP, if you don't draft him, because I honestly believe they might not play him both sides a whole lot, but I believe some NFL teams will bend and let him get the other side of the ball. And if that's the case, then he'll be every bit worthwhile picking up as a defensive back. My next guy, I believe, will go off the charts, and a lot of people probably don't see it. But why I think he's going to go off the charts is one, he plays the safety position, and he was extraordinary where he played at. I mean, just like some of the numbers he did was just good. Malik Starks for Georgia, I do believe is going to be a very top end star. And then the next ones are both linebackers, and that's Abdul Carter, Jaheed Campbell would be your best pickups. So them five players for defensive, I think, are really gonna set your IDP next year. I think every one of them will be in a starting position, will be right out the gate, just like your Jalen Carter, your Micah Parsons. They're worth the pickup. What's your take on them five I just named off?
I mean, I don't have an issue with them five at all. I think those are some solid pickups that will go under the radar for most people, but those are pretty good sleepers that I would really look into as well.
Right. So that's one thing I wanted to get off and kind of talk about. And then my next thing is I wanted to kind of name the top 10 players that I think are sleepers. That these players, some of them are already stars, but they're not like stars like when you say Josh Allen or um, Jaden McDaniels. It's not that kind of stardom yet. Maybe one of them is, but he didn't show out like he did. The others are rookies that haven't been drafted as part of that top 10 that I think are going to be extraordinary rookies as offensive players. That if you should not bypass them, if you have an opportunity to draft them in your rookie draft. So if I name them players, you definitely want to write them down and remember them. The first player I have on my list is Bo Nix. I think he came out at Denver. No one expected what he did at Denver. I think next year you're going to see even more. He's going to be higher up. I guarantee you he's going to finish in the top 10 again. I mean, or in the top 10. He didn't do it this year, but he will next year. So, I mean, it's a high chance. And then Bucky Irvin, running back for Tampa. I mean, I think he's going to be off the chain. And a lot of people ain't saying his name. Some people are and some people are not. So I definitely would pick him up. And as I said earlier, why I picked Marvin Harris, I believe that him and Kyle Murray will connect this year. And he'll have extraordinary numbers. Another wide receiver I liked a lot is down in Tampa, and that's Jalen McMillan. So I believe he's going to fire off on all cylinders. We've seen a little bit of spice last year when Mike Evans and Godwin were out. He did extraordinary, didn't lose a beat. I mean, that was one of the go-to guys for Baker Mayfield. I think going forward, you're going to see more of them. And I think if you have him in a draft, if you can get him in the fourth, maybe probably fifth or sixth round in the startup, he'd be a really good pickup. And then my next wide receiver I have out there is Roma Tuesday. Why did I move him up there? Why did I say he's going to be extraordinary? Well, they got rid of Keenan Allen. He becomes the second wide receiver. He hit I think Rome Tuesday connect more better with Caleb Williams than DJ Moore. And yes, I think DJ Moore is a better wide receiver than Roma Tuesday right now. But I think with the connection of the two, I think we're going to see more fire out of Roma Tuesday. So as a sleeper, I think He'd be an excellent pickup. And in the next one, brace yourself. Everybody should know this name and know what I'm talking about. Ashton Jentney, running back. Wherever he goes, you got to draft him. He's going to probably be the top draft off the board other than Travis Hunter in a startup. If you're not playing a IDP, you'd be definitely drafting him in a just a regular stand-up fantasy. And the next sleeper, I think, that we didn't see nothing out of last year, just a little bit because Pittsburgh was such a debacle, is Justin Fields. We're going to see Justin Fields back to the Justin Fields. Well, let's not say back to the way he was at Chicago Bears. Please, God, no. Let's say he wins a game, but has the numbers. So let me kind of phrase it that way. I don't want to say we want to see him just like he was at the Bears. I'd be like, well, why do you want to say that? He's going to the Jets. Now they're going to be losing. No, I'm not saying it that way. The other one that I really like, and I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to the move, he left San Francisco. He's at the Vikings now. The kid is great as a running back. So when Christian McCaffrey went down, Jordan Mason was everything. So if you don't think Jordan Mason can go up to the Vikings and hold that running back room, there's nothing up there, guys. He's going to do it. So I don't see that he couldn't do it. The next running back, everybody's going to say, well, that's not really a sleeper. You're doing just like Ashton Jentney. No, I think he's a sleeper because a lot of everybody has him on his mouth. I mean, we're not all talking about him. That's Trevion Henderson. He's going to be a starting running back. Wherever he goes this year, he's going to start and he's going to dominate and he's going to be the guy you want on your team. So if you could pick him up, you pick him up. And I'll give you guys, I'm just telling you, that's just, that guy right there is going to be fire. And a lot of people might not see it. Another one I think is really one that's going to shock Austin because I don't think even Ralston's ready to hear this one. I just threw him out there. Rashard Smith, the running back from SMU. I believe if he goes to a team, he's going to be a surprise. So I would definitely pick him up. So what do you think about that 10?
I like that one, but I think I'm gonna throw one at least out there to see what you think. What about Caleb Johnson, the running back?
Oh, I like that from Iowa.
Yes, I'm really starting to pick up steam on him. I've noticed not too many people are talking about him, but at the same time, I really think if he goes to the right place in a day 2 pick from anywhere from the second to third round, because there's projected a lot of running backs coming out, so I could see that he get into the second or third round. If he goes to the right team, he could potentially be a starter somewhere, and he could really actually do a lot of damage where he goes to. So I really starting to like him a lot.
Yeah, I believe we got a solid, good 5, maybe 6 running backs coming out of this class, and maybe one that we don't even identify that's going to be like just if you don't see him this year, you're definitely going to see him next year. It's like this class really does have a good running back class. I mean, we got Quinshon Junkins we haven't even mentioned. Caleb Johnson, like you mentioned, yes, he was in my ideal as one of the top running backs coming out. I mean, you could just go down and name a list of running backs that are coming out. I think Jalen Milroe from Alabama will end up being a running back. I just don't see him being a quarterback.
I don't know about that. I think
they did have him do some running back stuff, and if he does, he would be a good running back. That man can run the ball.
He ain't gonna be no running back. That's like whenever everybody was trying to tell Lamar Jackson to be a running back.
No, he's no Lamar Jackson. You can't put him in that same category.
Well, I mean, they did that for him whenever he was coming out of Louisville. So, I mean.
No, I'm talking about ability-wise. They're two different kind of guys.
Well, I mean, they said the same thing about Lamar. And then the Ravens drafted him, and now look at him.
No, Lamar was good in college as a long ball thrower and a runner. Louisville was crazy good. He was overlooked. His numbers way outweigh what Jalen Milroe ever did.
True,
Couldn't put them
but
two in
we're
the
also
same book.
true, but we're also we got to, because if you're gonna name him, say do some running back stuff, they literally asked Lamar Jackson to be a running back when he was doing his draft process. So
Yeah, there's
that's
been
some
a
of this.
lot of quarterbacks have come out and like from college ended up taking other positions on. Not big names like that, but well, the biggest name I know that really changed was Terrell Pryor. He went from he was drafted as a quarterback, but then changed to a wide receiver and did really good for 3 years until his foot injury. So I mean,
Okay, I mean, I don't remember what he done, but
well, and he was just a regular wide receiver out there.
yeah, he was.
So yeah, I mean, I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to bring that up. Um, get your guys' take. Do you have anything else you want to share tonight?
I got one more thing.
All right.
I know I didn't talk to you about this offset,
Oh, I'm good
but
with that.
but I think this is going to be a fun little thing that I'm going to randomly throw at you to make sure you have your toes on point and ready to go.
All right.
So we're going to play a little game of over and under.
Over and under. Uh,
I am going to throw you a player, and I'm gonna give you a line, and you are going to tell me what you think they're going to either go over that line or under that line at the end of this year.
all right.
What do you believe in? So I'm gonna do three, and like I said, I'm gonna randomly do this on random shows to make sure that you are on your toes.
All right. Give it to me.
So number one, Kyler Murray, and the line is last year he ended in PPR. He ended around the quarterback 10. So I'm gonna set the line at 10. Now what do you think? Over or under?
Okay, so he ended at 10 this year. You're saying either under 10 where he's in the top 9
Yeah,
or over.
yeah. So if you say over, then that means you think he's going to be in the top 10 plus. If
I
you
think he'd
he's
be
going to be
under
over,
top
he's
10.
going to be okay. So Z, when you say under, that's below the top 10 since the line was at 10. So you're saying under 10. Now you just go. Now, do you want to sweeten the deal and throw out a number, or are you just going to go
Yeah, I think
under?
he's going to finish 8th overall this year.
Oh, eighth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said eighth, so that means you want to go over.
Yes.
Gotcha. All
All
right.
right. Now maybe I didn't understand you, but now I do.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
over.
So
So I think
over
he will finish
10.
8th
Gotcha.
overall this year.
Okay. Okay. I got you. And now here's one that's going to be interesting that I want to see your take. So in Jacksonville, there's been this kind of we thinking that ETN's the guy, but then they get this guy named Tank Bixby. He's starting to make some splashes. He's starting to get a little bit more involved. So the over under I'm gonna give you is Tank Bixby, and he actually finished, running back 36. So that's going to be the line 36. Do you think he's going over 36 or under 36?
Over 36, and I'd say he finished 27th.
Do you think he's taking that job? The reason
Yes, I
why? Or,
do.
okay. Okay. So okay. So we got two overs. Okay. I'm gonna give you this last one.
All right.
It's wide receiver, and he is out of Detroit. His name is Jameson Williams, and he had by far his best year last year, and he finished as the wide receiver 22. So that's going to be the line. Do you think he's over or under that?
I think he'll finish 25th, so he'll be under.
All right, our first under. All right, very good. So yeah, I'm gonna randomly throw these out there because I want to also see your input because I'm thinking over and unders too because you got them degenerates out there like myself who play over and unders. So I thought it'd be a neat exercise every now and then to randomly pick some teams, even if they're not starters, and see what our over and unders would be.
So with that being said, do you know exactly where Justin Fields finished this year?
I'd have to look that up. I don't remember what he finished. But
I'll get their stats.
something tells me we would go over it. At least I would go over it, depending on when he finished.
Right. Well, let's just take a guess. Where do you think he's going to finish at next year?
I think he's gonna at least. I think he's gonna fish as the quarterback. 15.
15. I like that.
Yeah, because especially because of his mobile abilities, that really helps a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say he's going to finish in the top 20. And if I had to give a number, I'd have been around 18, 15 would have probably been my guess too, because I've never really, I mean, he, when he was at the Bears, there was one time he ranked in the top 12 and then was seventh as a running back. But I don't think we're going to see him like that anyway. Not with that running back crew. You got Brees
I
Hall.
I think
You
it'll
got,
be a I think it'll be a combination of he's gonna throw the ball around because with Garrett Wilson and all them, but depending on how that offensive line performs, he's either gonna run around a lot, which is gonna boost his stats up and get him over, or if he's got a really good offensive line, then the only time he'll really probably will have to run is when the defense has got good coverage and he just has to make something happen. It's going to be interesting to see, though.
so my last question, and I think this is the question everybody needs to know. We've done a lot of mock drafts and we have watched a lot of news. And me and Austin have different takes, but I honestly believe it's this season. You know how you get these seasons where quarterbacks just don't fly off in the first round. Honestly, is I mean, I think there's some sleepers out there, and I think Jackson Dart is a sleeper. I think guy from Texas, Irwin, is a sleeper. I think even Will Howard could possibly be a sleeper, but he's probably going to be just your best backup. Um, I just don't believe that we're going to see two quarterbacks go in the first round this year. I believe we're only going to see one, and that's going to be Cam Ward. And I believe we're going to see Saunders go in the second round. That's my take. So, how many quarterbacks you think is going to go in the first round?
So I can see that because I've seen pretty good bit of mock drafts do that too, where they pick Sanders in the second round. But I have a feeling, and I think, especially now, we have to really consider the Saints a lot more now since we have this possible ending injury with Derek Carr and his thrown shoulder that just magically popped up. But I think I'm gonna say three. I'm gonna go throw a dart out there, and I'm just gonna say three.
Oh, that's bold.
It, that's what I'm saying. I got a dart. I'm throwing it now. I'm waiting until next Thursday to see where it lands.
So, you believe three QBs and teams you believe they'll go to is Cleveland. I'm figuring, well, no, here, I'm going to let you tell me the teams you think.
So obviously, we know everything lining up. I'd be really shocked. But Cam Ward go to the Titans,
Tennessee.
and I think next one would be Sanders, and there's two teams that I have in mind, depending on if they pull the trigger. But I have the one of the teams would be the Giants. But, you know, I'm also leaning towards, they're not doing it because they think Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston is going to do them for this year. So
Yeah.
the next team I would have to get him would be the Saints because of this whole Derek Carr thing, and you know they probably don't want to risk oh no, we don't really have an answer at the quarterback position, so we might as well just go ahead and throw a dart and see if this works.
Yeah. We all seen what Spencer Rattler did last year. No offense. He's a backup.
And honestly, I was when he had his opportunities, I was really hoping to see something because I liked him, but I really didn't see something that says he was going to be the answer. So that would be the two teams I think would pick Sanders in the first round, and then the last one I think would be I've seen it a lot mock drafts, experts, and the ones that we have done, and the ones I've done too and stuff. But I think one Jackson Dart would go to the Steelers because I've seen that thrown out a lot, and I've seen a lot of mock drafts and stuff, and expert people and stuff. So
So you believe the stories about Saunders not having a very good meeting with the Steelers?
I
Sometimes I think
mean,
that sometimes I think that's just
I
gossip to
think
throw
I
someone
think
else
I,
off.
I think it's a smokescreen,
I
honestly.
think it is too. It would shock me. I'm just saying, how the Tomlin guy thinks. He's different. He's
Yeah,
good. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is a smokescreen and no one thinks that Steelers are going to grab Saunders and they grab Saunders and you're like, whoa, we
because
thought it didn't.
who knows? They could just throw that little smokescreen out there, be like, oh, we ain't got to worry about them. But then they just automatically, they could actually, without us anyone knowing, trade up.
Yeah,
A couple
I'm
of
just
spots or
surprised
whatever
that
to go get them.
Saunders is not going to be at the draft. There was a couple other surprise ones that ended up deciding not to be at the draft. And I know a lot of times when they ask him not to show up or decisions like that made is because there's a chance they might not get drafted in the first round. So they don't want them there to be because there's been that's happened in the past. That I get it. Um, that just tells me right off the bat when Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback from Kentucky, got invited and he's going to be attending. That's pretty confident at that time because there's only a few players. It's not all 32 players that are going to be drafted in the first round shows up. They usually have a selective 15 or a selective 10. It's not a huge number. And every time, every year for the last couple of years, it's always been right. That group gets drafted in the first round. Except for a few times it's happened where, oh, you're like, oh, kind of like that kind of deal. Will Levis, I think, was the biggest one. It was like he got drafted at the beginning of the second round, but they expected him to go in the first round. He sat there the whole night. So that's different. Uh, I don't know if you hear that child screaming, but she's just having a blast. so, but I know both of you me's had a long day. It's Easter weekend. We got kids and been wide open. I know you had to do a little bit of work this weekend, which is even rough on that being a holiday. So
Hmm.
I'm like war slap out tonight. I know
Yeah.
you are too. So we are going to cut it short tonight, guys. But this is a little bit extra we gave you. Like we said, it's going to ramp up now because the draft is here. Thursday is the draft day, draft one. We're hoping we can do a live watch. If not, you're definitely going to get a recap from me and Austin. We're not
Yeah,
going to leave you in the dark.
yeah, we'll just catch the temperature throughout the week and see how we are on that if we can do it or not. So y'all will definitely know something.
Yeah, we'll definitely get something out either way. Even if we don't get to watch it live right Thursday, that weekend, you're going to get a wild recap from us because we're going to be all over it. Um,
Yeah.
and then after that, we're going to go to not mock drafting the NFL, but mock drafting the fantasy because we did a startup, which was an early startup, which was fun. Um, we still have a second half to that, which is going to be exciting. So I I'm going to tell you, there was a quarterback that did not go off that board, which shocked me. And I don't even know if you know that quarterback yet. So
There's a
he's,
bunch of players that I saw that didn't go off the board yet.
they were so far down on the ADP, no one's seen them. It's like, they won't. I guarantee you, after the draft, when that ADP gets updated, these guys are going to be like the first ones on the draft pick. It's like, if you're auto draft, they're going to be gone. So you better have your notes taken and be ready.
Yep.
Because these players, I don't think they're going to stick around. So, how do you think, JJ, before we go, I just want to get your take. What do you think JJ McCarthy's going to do in Minnesota?
Well, it's gonna be really his rookie year, so I will probably, we'll probably see some growing pains, but I I see him. I mean, it's kind of hard to do bad with him. I mean, if Sam Darnold can do that good in that offense with that coach, I think they can get the best out of JJ McCarthy with all that talent around him, and especially what they did in the offseason. I mean, they went out there and spent money.
Yeah.
So, which I know it doesn't mean anything or whatever, but you got to take it into consideration because right now it's the off season, and they always say in fantasy and football, if you're going for a player, go where the money goes.
Ain't
So,
that the truth?
so I think, with the weapons he's got and stuff and their offense, I think he can at least get into the top 20.
Oh, yeah. I believe so, and I do believe that, yeah, with their offense and the weapons they have, they will definitely look really good next year. I mean, it's Minnesota. What do you expect? They
And
always
they
have
still got the
something.
draft, so
Yeah,
there's no telling who they're gonna get.
that's true too. All right, if you guys like the content, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. You guys going to be hearing a little bit more from us. Like I said, the drafts are coming. We're going to see where these players land. Me and Austin's going to start our whole rankings again. We'll do just like we did previous rankings. You can go ahead and listen to them now. We'll go ahead and do them as a group. So the rookies will be included with the NFL stars when we come out with our running back rankings. And at the end of that, we'll just say, hey, these are the top 3 guys you need to get in a rookie draft or something like that for that position. And we'll kind of go down that line. And I hope you guys wrote down my sleepers. And Austin's sleeper that he threw out there because he's really a good sleeper too, Caleb Johnson. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to be a really good running back coming out. And like I said, I think it's one of the better classes coming out. So it'll be exciting. Quarterbacks, on the other hand, if you're in a dynasty and you're looking for that quarterback this year, I don't think you're going to get it. I'm sorry. I mean, there's only going to be onesies and twosies that are going to end up being starters. So if you don't have quarterbacks on your roster, you're going to probably suffer another year. And it's horrible. Like, whatever, you're going to have to go find a trade, do something. So,
Unless you're able to get Cam Ward, but other than that, you
yeah.
know,
You'll have to have like the 101 or at least be within the first 3 picks
you have
because
to
I don't think
have.
the
Yeah, honestly, you're gonna have to have the 101 and 102 because I really don't see him going past the 101 and 102 unless you're in a single quarterback.
I think
So
even in a quarterback flex, I think Ashton Jentney would go
no,
before him. And
no, and most mocks that I've done on fantasy so far, Genty has been going number one regardless, and then it's
right.
been Cam Ward.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of it's going to be where these other running backs land. I think it's going to also pull the trigger where they're placed in that thing. I think that whole first round is going to be dedicated to running backs. It's going to get crazy. You're going to have like a few wide receivers off in there, like McMillan, uh, maybe a Buka, depending on where they land. They will stick out. If you have an IDP, you'll have Jaheed Campbell, you'll have Abdul Carter, you'll have Travis Hunter. All these will be first round picks. And here comes a fly. I mean, we've been doing this whole show for the last 20 minutes. I've not had a fly in front of my face, and all of a sudden he come out of nowhere. So I'm gonna start doing these karate chops on you guys right before we leave. You're like, all right, he's either wigging out or something. So, all right, that's it, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And like Austin always says, sharing is caring.